Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's training where we're going to talk about how you can get your current projects done quickly and easily. Eric has actually created this awesome worksheet, and we have the link here with the video where you can download your very own. But essentially what we're going to do is help you to organize your current projects. And there's a backside too, so you can do up to 8 projects.
But no more than 8, just 8.
Right, because 7 or 8 projects is going to be an awesome number for you. And we're going to share how it works. And project planning has never been so fun, right,
Absolutely.
Eric?
And just to make a caveat, we know that you have way more than 8 projects you want to get to someday. We just always teach to keep it at 8 or fewer, because when your mind is focused on that few, you'll be able to get that many more done because you're focused on them and not on 20 or 50 projects all at the same time. So as you get these 8 done, you'll be able to replace them with others that are next in line.
So should we start with step 1? We're going through
usually start with step 1.
4 little steps today to help you out. Okay, step 1, you're just going to identify your 8 projects and basically pick the top 8. Should we talk about how to select those a little bit?
Sure.
So a lot of times people will say, everything has to be done all at the same time. I have 50 projects I need to do. Well, the fact is that's not working for you, because if you're trying to get 50 projects done, you feel like a pinball in a pinball machine. You're bouncing around all day. You're not getting them done. So what we recommend is think about your projects like dominoes, where let's say you have all the dominoes lined up, all of your projects, and there's some projects where if you got that one done, it would make all of the rest a lot easier. For example, if your house or your office is just totally disorganized, cleaning that office is going to help you with other work projects that you might want to do. So we want you to just pick the project that has like the biggest bang, right? That's going to help you get started.
Absolutely.
Anything else you'd say on that?
I think that's good.
All right. Shall we go for step 2 now? I want to explain how you brainstorm.
How to use the project, like we're actually filling them out as we go along, or no?
Yeah. So let me just show you how Eric's put this together. He just wrote down these projects, like we've got this Yosemite family vacation here, learning to, what was that?
Play the guitar.
Learn to play the guitar.
To the paper.
Not really.
So what we want to do is really kind of get you on your 8 most essential projects, list them out. First step is just kind of getting them out, right? And so maybe it's helpful to grab a sheet of paper, a digital note, and write down all the projects you want to get to someday.
Like the hundreds,
yeah,
right?
Just get a couple. We found most people have between 200 to 300 projects in their heads, but they're keeping them in their minds, right? It's taking up emotional and mental energy. There's no reason to keep them in there. So I say get a few sheets of paper, grab Excel, digital note, whatever you like to do, and then over the next few days to a couple weeks, just write down all these projects, get them out of your head. But then this becomes the master list that you can scan over and then identify which of those projects are the most essential, the most important. So I just grabbed 3. We'll kind of take these 3 through. But what we want to do in step 1 with this template is just then put down the 1 to 8 projects that you're going to focus on. That's step 1. That's it.
And that's super easy, right? Fun already. Okay, now we're going to step 2. And this is where you just brainstorm the needed steps. Doesn't Eric have awesome handwriting? And they don't have to be in any particular order. You're just basically saying, what are the things that I need to do?
Yeah, and I actually only wrote the list neatly so that people could read it for the purposes of teaching like this, right? So your list can kind of be just scratching it out really quick. Just stream of consciousness, get them out. They don't need to be prioritized. And if you don't think of all of them at once, that's fine. You can totally add additional steps during the month as you're working on these current projects. But the real idea here is to kind of set them up so they're just like a bunch of Pez pieces, right? I love in our classes talking about Pez. We're going to set it up so all the little pieces of candy are the action steps. The toy represents the project. So you got project 1, project 2, you got Yoda and Superman here. And we're literally going to identify then what the action steps are underneath it. Just write them all out. Those are going to be the pieces of candy. We're going to show you how to focus on just one at a time.
Do you want to just do an example? Take one of the projects and just read what you put in here?
So for the top one, for example, organize our active project folders into a file drawer. So I like to keep my stuff, my project materials in a file drawer. April keeps hers in cubbies in her command central. So if you can kind of see here, I just wrote down 10-minute cleanup or clean out of the top file drawer. I'll try to read this backwards here. Find the right,
just read them.
Maybe it's a bad idea.
Just read them.
Find the right blue hanging and manila file folders, okay, maybe like on Amazon, Costco, or at Sam's Club. Buy blue and manila folders. 5-minute setup manilas and blues. Schedule 3 10-minute bursts each week to process piles and file as needed. And then find place to store the extra folders. So again, you can see just a few project steps. They're not in any right order, right? Just I wrote down the different steps I could think of. That's simply step 2. You just literally write down all the action steps you can think of.
And while it might sound kind of crazy to put super simple steps on there, That's what you need to do so that when your brain sees a step, it's like, okay, well, for sure I could just order folders on Amazon. That's not hard. But if you say, hey, Eric, go organize your project folders, it's going to feel like, too many steps. Let's just not.
Yeah, like no action
right?
step should take longer than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
We call them micro bursts, things that you can do in a 5 or 10 minute little burst of time. You're not going to procrastinate that. You're going to get right to it. Like one of the steps I mentioned there was scheduling 3 10-minute bursts. It wasn't do the 10-minute bursts. Just get on my calendar this week and find little windows of time where I could do a 10-minute burst here, a 10-minute burst there, and a 10-minute burst there. That's going to stop you from procrastinating. So now
we'll go into step 3, and this is where you prioritize. So what Eric did is he made photocopies of these and then just added on to each step to make it really easy. So now you're prioritizing, and there's a little circle and a square next to each of the steps. So in the circle, we put the number of the order, right? So if you're doing a brainstorm, you might brainstorm 5 tasks and you think, oh wait, but I forgot this one. Just throw it on. It's okay. You're going to prioritize it here in step 3. So then you just looked at each project and thought, okay, which one comes first? And it's just like these pieces of Pez where essentially you laid out all the Pez and then you decide to put them in order into the Pez dispenser.
So the second step is just getting all the pieces of candy, right? And then we're going to load them into the Pez dispenser in the right order. And that's simply just putting on prioritization numbers, which would come first, which would come next. Just kind of look at sequence. Super easy to do. And this whole process of filling out this whole sheet literally will only take 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on if you have 8 projects.
Yeah.
But you're going to blow through it pretty quickly. And then it's awesome because when you get to step 4,
which is where you just identify the context where you're going to be. So if you look at this square, and we have here at the bottom of the little sheet, and you can print it out. We put a link here with it, so you can just print it out. But the context where you just put a letter. So H is for home, P is for phone, C is for computer, E is for errand, D is to discuss, and then we put an O for office if you have an external office, or if you want to clarify, there's office work you do in your home office, and then there's homework that you would do maybe, kitchen, garage, or around the house. But this is really, really simple. So the exact same things, right? So now we've got the projects written down over here on this side. We've got all the steps brainstormed. We've put them in the right priority. And then we've just written down which context it's going to go into. And then this is where you can pull them off and put them on your context-based list for the week. Do you want to talk about that?
Now, what is a context-based next actions list?
So in our class, we teach about the context-based next actions list, which David Allen made super popular in his book, Getting Things Done. What I love about this is I used to put all of my tasks on my planner page for the day, or a lot of people put it on their calendar. So you end up with a really full calendar with 60 things that you want to do that day, but you won't have time to do. So basically we set ourselves up for failure every single day. What we do instead is anything that's calendar specific. So let's say you're creating this list of your projects and there's 5 things that are calendar specific where, well, that has to happen Friday, or has to happen today, or that has to happen on the 31st or whatever. You put those on your calendar and that's great. But then you have a next actions list organized by context, and you can use an app like Cozy or Google Keep or Toodle-Doo or Trello, Asana. There's lots of options. Or you can have just a little piece of paper where I do mine with paper, and I just have, home, little draw a picture of a house, phone, right? Super, super simple. But that way you have this list that works in tandem with your calendar. And you'd essentially just come look at this current projects sheet of your brainstorm. You would pull out the very first task from each of the projects you want to work on that week, and you would put them in the appropriate context on your context-based to-do list.
Yeah, so just maybe kind of give an illustration of exactly what that would be. So right here, now that we've filled the whole form out for 3 projects here, for the organized active project folders, the first step's going to be find the right blue hanging and manila file folders. That's priority number 1. It has a C next to it, so that's going to go under computer tasks, right? I can go online, look at a few providers, and find that. For the Yosemite family trip, the very first activity would be ask our friends, either on Facebook or through text, to get their recommendations on where to go, what to do, and where to stay while we're up there. So that's 1, and I have a P next to it. I have a phone because I can send my text and do a Facebook post right there. So hopefully that's helpful. And then the last project was learn to play the guitar, a few chords there. The very first one was just to find the guitar in the garage, right? So that's a 1, has an H next to it. That's a home task. So each of those tasks becomes the very first thing I would do. And we're not focusing on anything else on our projects but that. We're not focusing on all the projects. We're not focusing on all the project steps. We're simply taking each project and focusing on the very first action, taking it out, putting it in our context-based next actions list. And we get it done, you eat it, and it's done. And then you can replace it on your list with the next one, right? And before you know it, all 8 of your Pez dispensers, or fewer if you have less than 8 projects, are empty, or by analogy, all of your projects are done, usually well before the end of the month, and it's awesome.
You enjoying your Pez?
It's delicious. It's strawberry flavored. It's good.
All right, so we have your special worksheet, a blank one for you. We have the link right here with the video, so print it out and try it. Just sit down, go through, identify those projects, and just work through this 4-step process. It's not hard, and what you're just going to do is, instead of your mind feeling like, oh, it's everywhere and I have to do everything, you're going to learn how to focus on the projects that deserve your attention first, how to really break them down to next actions, prioritize, get them on your context-based list, and we're excited for you. And if you haven't yet attended our class where we show you how to actually implement this and we walk through and do this workshop style, then come check it out at LearnDoBecome.com/step. That we're super excited for you. So thank you so much.
Good luck.